And we're back for game number 2 of this best of 3. EG facing off with Fnatic. The last time these two teams met, EG got past them, and really that's been a big part of EG's recent resurgence, which has all eyes on them, trying to see if they're going to recapture the glory, the skill, the consistency that got them into the international last year. Fnatic has been as stable as any team on the planet, but as always, they tend to be a little streaky. They do tend to have periods where they'll be dominant for 10, 15, even 20 straight matches, and then they'll fall off, and that's kind of where they've been lately. But as I mentioned during our first broadcast, a big part of that for Fnatic has to do with the fact that they're always involved in postseason play. They're just one of those teams that's so good that they are always in the late stages of every tournament they enter. And in the case of the last 3 weeks, they participated in the EMS 1 playoffs, the D2L playoffs, Star Ladder season 4 or 5 playoffs, etc., etc., etc. So they have been a little down and out, just about a 500 win percentage, while Evil Geniuses has been streaking. But game 1, Fnatic able to turtle them out pretty well, and I talked a lot about it, and I always try to communicate with the viewers during the downtimes and such, and really, I mean, technically, when you look at a lone druid versus an anti-mage, yes, a druid can do okay there, especially if he lands a fortuitous root, if he gets a nice bash, so on and so forth, and we saw anti-mage actually get picked off a time or two even towards the end when his farm was just insane, but for the most part, that's not a matchup you want to put yourself into intentionally, especially if you have a team that can fight as well as EG's does in their in the early and mid game, and EG got work done. They cleared almost the entire map of every tower. There was one remaining at like 28 minutes or something like that, but Fnatic delayed them just enough. Fnatic hung on to their map control just long enough to free anti-mage up, to allow Arrow to farm, and by the time he hit his stride, there was really no turning back for EG. So game 1 behind us, game 2, now an elimination match for Evil. Oh, no, I take that back. We're saying that we are in the winner's bracket. So if EG does lose this game, they will fall to the lower brackets. They'll have a chance to fight their way out. If I'm not mistaken, they'll actually be rematching against, I want to say against Dignitas, or no, it'll be against Liquid, I think. I'd have to double check. But if they do happen to lose here today, good chance they'll be rematching against Liquid, who they beat in the second round after being given a reprieve, and allowed back into the tournament when Absolute Legends, who had beat them in round 1, had to withdraw. So Fnatic, though, continues to just play stable. They got past Kaipi to get here today, and really have looked strong for a while. But again, I mean, if you just go by the numbers, like they're one of those teams that if you don't watch them play and you don't really get inside what it is that makes their team so hard to deal with, and especially if you just look at the last 30 days, their record, which again I think is 7-8, something like that, it's easy to go, well, they're mediocre, they're Midland, they're a good team, but they're not great. They're actually one of the better, more stable teams on the planet. And one thing I said about them in my broadcast yesterday, and I think stays very, very true, Fnatic tends to have a very flatline kind of a place. I mean, yes, obviously they peaked in the late game, but that had more to do with composition than anything. You know, if they get off to a good start, if they're stable, if they do okay early game, they're going to do okay all game. They're not the best team in the world at playing from behind. They can turtle a team out, and they can play, in the words of Fnatic's Fly, who broadcasted with me yesterday, they can play some rat Dota with the best of them. But for the most part, Fnatic is a what you see, what you get. What you see is what you get kind of a team. So the way that you usually want to exploit that against them is just to come out and hit them in the nose early, try to knock them out of their rhythm, and try to make them play from behind. EG is a team, I would honestly say, kind of the same with Liquid. Liquid tends to be dependent a lot on momentum, but EG does okay playing from behind in a lot of situations. But, again, in game 1, the gulf just got to be way too wide, way too quickly on the back of a farming anti-mage. So our picks and our bans are out here. The first handful, at least on each side. We're going to see Keeper of the Light and Bane picked up by Evil Geniuses. Fnatic, though, going to get their hands on a Bat Rider. They had to give away the Keeper to make that happen. But also mentioning again, coming back to the stat I've been quoting for the last 48 hours, I'm not sure the exact record now, but it's at least 12-2 for Keeper of the Light. I'm almost positive, actually. I've personally broadcast the Keeper of the Light making it into 2 games in the last 2 days, and both of those he won. So as of a few days ago, Keeper of the Light's professional record in professional Dota matches was at 12-2 on the week, and I'm almost positive he's been flawless as well for every team. So EG getting their hands on the Keeper this time around. And Keeper, a big part of what allowed Fnatic to play the way they did. Again, Keeper of the Light's just an excellent hero for so many reasons. He gives you tons of anti-push, gives you a lot of split push, allows you to reliably take team fights early if you have a good Keeper player. I mean, one Illuminate that hits everyone off of a full charge, even if it's like level 2, level 3, is still just so much damage to cope with at that level of the game. So just high value in so many ways, but the way that Fnatic really put it through its paces was not only in stemming the tide of EG, and again, I talked a bit about that. EG did execute their goals in Game 1, which was to clear the map of towers to gain a map control advantage and to try to choke out the anti-mage. But the Keeper of the Light and his Illuminate spam delayed them just enough, made it so they couldn't just push down the line and take a tower. They had to push, regroup, then take a tower. Use their mech just because of Illuminate spam and all that, and made it very difficult for EG to be super efficient in the way that they cleared the map and gave just enough time for Era to get his legs underneath him. And yes, that was an intentional pun. I am that clever. But Era to get his legs underneath him. And actually, it's not a pun. It's more of a reference to the most famous statistic ever given by Bruno the Statman. But as it stands, they're going to go ahead and go aggressive again. I'll tell you what, Fnatic's lineup terrifies me. If I'm not going to lie, if I'm in EG's shoes, I look at these three heroes that have already come out and go, okay, we shouldn't have let that happen. Because seeing the Lifestealer come out, he now has two excellent heroes that he can piggyback on, use the Infest on, two great ways to initiate into these fights. You're going to have extreme reach from the Bat Rider and the Storm Spirit, at least from the Bat Rider once he gets up a Blink Dagger. And EG is going to go ahead and grab up the PL, so we're going to get to see the Keeper of the Light Phantom Lancer combination, which is so very, very maligned by so many people. Now, Fnatic did go ahead and take a chance picking the Lifestealer into the Bane. Bane is one of the more effective counters to just about really any melee hero in the entire game, but Lifestealer in particular, he is so reliant on his rage and his ability to get on a target, stay on a target, blow a target up, and then back out while he waits for his rage to come off of cooldown. Bane, with the ability to channel Fiend's Grip, hold him in place through Magic Immunity, just gigantic in terms of what it can do to him, not to mention Enfeeble. Bane's Enfeeble, the damage reduction from that cannot be purged off of with Magic Immunity. So if Lifestealer's already raged, then you can't cast it on him if you're a Bane, but you can cast it beforehand. And the range on it is actually a little bit better than most estimated to be. You can cast it from pretty safe distance. So another game, in particular for EG, though, that's going to be all about positioning. I mean, you've got what is the equivalent of long-range mobile artillery and Keeper of the Light, who needs to be in the right position. Bane needs to be in the proper position to make sure that he can get his spells off on the appropriate targets. But Fnatic has a lineup that already excels in starting fights on their own terms. And we're actually going to see them go ahead and ban out the Puck here, which makes a ton of sense. I mean, what would they have done with him? And they don't want to give Puck's ability to slow a fight down or to just go ahead and halt a fight's aggression or the aggressive advantage that the team has. But yeah, I mean, being able to infest into the Storm Spirit, the Nake's Bomb, as it has become known as, you can do that with the Bat Rider as well. Bat Rider's lasso goes through Magic Immunity. That's absurdly important. Right now, what I really want to see out of EG is what kind of complexion their lanes are going to take. With the Keeper of the Light and the Bane, that would Sammy. At first glance, you go, that's their defensive tri lane. That's easy. But they might be up against an offensive tri-lane coming out of Fnatic, and that would actually benefit them quite a lot, but that comes down to what Evil Geniuses manages to get for their solo off lane. Being able to put a Storm Spirit in a solo lane as well as a Bat in a solo lane just so they can both get their levels in their farm would be a tremendous advantage for them, but it would mean they would have to sacrifice Lifestealer's potential to just farm a lot early. And yeah, Fnatic continuing to go ahead and say, you know what, we'll have the mobile team, thank you very much. We'll take away Puck, Queen of Pain, and the ground mobility hero that is the Darkseer. But if they can put together a good offensive tri-lane surrounding the Lifestealer, and Lifestealer is one of the better offensive tri-laners in the entire game, but going up against a Keeper can be a little bit chancy in that regard. So it would definitely be a roll of the dice, but given they do have a one-game lead in this series, it's a roll of the dice they can afford to make if they want to, and just rely on Bat and Storm Spirit's ability to dominate in a solo lane, to get their farm, to get their core items, and get into position very quickly. The bans from EG, we can see Shadow Demon taken out, which is, I mean, not a terribly bad ban for them. Of course, it's a counter to Phantom Lancer, the ability to disrupt a Phantom Lancer illusion to create your own illusions. That alone makes it worthwhile. It's also very high value on heroes that don't want to be isolated. A Phantom Lancer who wants to feel safe can be demonic purged, and all of a sudden you know exactly which Phantom Lancer happens to be the real one. So on and so forth. They don't want to see too much more mid-game aggression out of Fnatic, so they take out the Chen and the Undying. Undying, a hero that's probably the best ban they made other than the Shadow Demon. The Undying would have worked really, really well, just being able to rely on the reach of Bat Rider and Storm Spirit to start a fight, then let him waddle himself up, drop a tombstone. And once you have someone lassoed, you basically, and that's what makes Bat Rider so damn strong, is the fact that, if you have a target that's lassoed and you don't do anything to stop it, if, you can't get a stun off and he drags him back to the enemy team, it's like, okay, you just lost a hero, so now that hero either buys back, you lose a tower, or you have to fight 4-on-5 if you want to contest whatever you need to contest. So, an Undying with a mix like that where you just about have to re-engage or at least try to engage on the bat by himself can be very, very tough to do. Beastmaster going to be picked up, obviously. His Roar, a great counter to Lifestealer in its own right. The fact that it can lock him down at least for a little while through Magic Immunity. Bane in the same boat again with Fiend's Grip, so they are putting together some answers for him. It's also a really good answer to, again, Bad Rider's ability to drag a hero back. There's a lot of range on Primal Roar from Beastmaster, so even if you're a little slow in reaction, you should have a chance to get him from downtown, allow your team a little time to catch up. This last pick for Fnatic will probably tell us what their lanes are going to look like. Lina is a hero that works well in an offensive tri-lane, and works well with Lifestealer in particular because he can open wounds, and then you lead off with the... I think they're going to offensively tri-lane this. I would actually be really surprised if they don't now with the Visage pickup. Visage, another hero that works really well with them. You've got two great slows and Grave Chill from Visage and Lifestealer's open wounds. Lina should have no problem hitting every single light strike array she throws out, so long as the two heroes in lane with her are able to lead things off. Damage, a lot of damage can come out of this as well. And really, Visage is a hero who wants to be in a 3-on-3 situation, just because of the way that Soul Assumption works. He wants to get the stacks, he wants to get the damage, and that, of course, contributes to his own damage output. And I do like this draft from Fnatic. Evil Geniuses, though, they do have Keeper of the Light, as horrendous a hero as that is to deal with, and now they're going to go ahead and get a Clockwork as well. So they have a lot of ways to lock heroes down in a lot of situations. Clockwork, obviously, a great answer to Lifestealer, great answer to the mobility of Bat and a Storm, and so on and so forth. So really what I think is going to end up happening is that Fnatic is going to be under the gun quite a bit to execute early, and if they can win their tri-lane, set the Phantom Lancer back, then get the Lifestealer ahead, if the Storm can get up a quick Orchid, something like that, then they're going to be in beautiful position. But if they stumble, and if Evil Geniuses is able to break even by 20, they're going to be in fantastic shape. I really don't think they're going to have too much trouble at all. We're getting into the action here in game number 2 of this best of 3. Fnatic taking on Evil Geniuses here at the G1 Western Qualifiers. Fnatic leads this series by 1 game, EG. Looking to turn things around, otherwise they're going to find themselves in the lower bracket in a hurry. And both teams are going to be heading towards top lane, at least for the moment. Looks like Demon's going to be handling our Beastmaster with Bambo in the off lane. No surprise there at all. And yeah, I would be completely jaw-dropped if they didn't dedicate themselves to the offensive tri-lane here. Love Fly's Lina skin. Oh, I want it so badly. It's so awesome. But this offensive tri-lane going to be of just immense importance. Immense importance. And if they're put in a situation where they give up a couple of kills, they give up a first blood, and they're forced to abandon this tri-lane, that's going to be a gigantic win for EG. I mean, when you're looking at pure late game, the late game advantage is without a doubt going to be in EG's favor. No doubt about it. So much as was the case for EG in game number 1, Fnatic really going to be under the gun to make this game out of reach, or take this game out of reach for EG by 30. Don't want to go much past that if you're them. And they do have a tri-lane that can make that happen. Bane has the ability to bail buddies out, of course, with Nightmare. The thing about Keeper of the Light is, depending on how you play things out, if you get a little bit of a lead against the tri-lane with Keeper of the Light, it tends to go very, very poorly for the defensive tri-lane in that situation if you give up a lead. He does do well, but he does well whenever he has 2 other heroes that can stand and fight for a little while he charges Illuminate, while he gets in position. Heroes that are more reliant on his mana than his damage. And that's the situation you want to be in if you're EG. So this is going to be a tri-lane that does need kills. I mean, a lot of times you'll talk about offensive tri-lanes, you'll say, well, I mean, if they can just deny farm, if you can just do this, that, and the other, then it's going to be okay. But this isn't a tri-lane like that. This is one that I think Fnatic is going to really want to get some kills and really put on a lot of pressure. And we can see that first point from Fear was put into his Enfeeble. So taking the damage of Lifestealer down to 30 at level 1. And that's going to make it tough for him the last hit to deny. But Era going to do his best. Yep, manages to get one there. And we'll keep an eye here. I do want to run through the lineups. I'm going to try to do so as quickly as I can. We'll have Fly playing on our Lina. The Visage going to be handled by No Tail. Hang on, Jo engaged upon. And some damage done, but they're not going to commit to it entirely. Probably the right call to make. And Fear already having to Clarity himself. Our Keeper of the Light is back here in the jungle, dewarding. And has his first point into Illuminate, so can't contribute Chakra Magic anytime soon. And the Creep Equilibrium's going up. Era missed a couple there. The Creep Equilibrium's going their way pretty well. And Jo being kept off a farm here. Very, very important. He's only got 2. Lifestealer sitting at 4, so still very early on. But anyway, Era will be playing the Lifestealer with a No Tail on the Visage. Moving on down the line, Bad Rider handled in mid by Trixie, and the Storm Spirit going to be played by Hani. Back up to the tri-lane, Fear, as mentioned, handling our Bane. We'll have Phantom Lancer played by Jo. Beastmaster going to be handled in mid by Demon. With the stand-in, Sexy Bambo standing in for Milk. He'll be playing on our Clockwork Goblin this time. And Beat is playing on our Keeper of the Light. Now, they are moving back out. Beat is still not level 2. Does not have a point in the Chakra Magic yet. And we see a little bit of long-range harassment being done as Bane sits back and eats the Clarity. Illuminate should catch a couple. They do manage to catch Jo with a Light Strike Array, but it cost him half his health as he did eat the Illuminate. And yeah, he's actually going to be nightmared here. And Jo is gonna Fly, barely able to make it away. Jo threw out the Spirit Lance following the removal of Nightmare, which was really good reaction out of Fnatic there. And this is what I'm talking about. So long as EG can be in a situation where the Keeper of the Light, you know, he hit an Illuminate there, that's great. But even if he doesn't, Fnatic's having to play a little bit more back now. They still have good control of the creep Equilibrium, at least for right now. So Era is continuing to have a big farm advantage, sitting at 9 to the 3 of Jo. He almost got a kill there, but not quite. And yeah, we can see a little creep pulling being done at the moment. And Jo finally going to get himself a chance to take some farm, but Era's also going to get his fair share as well. 3 minutes in, still no first blood on the board. Let's take a look at our mid matchup. Demon versus Trixie. Obviously, this should be a win for the Bad Rider, and it is. He's sitting at 19 last hits to the 8 of Demon. The fact that Demon has 8 is actually pretty solid. And Demon just excellent in mid on just about any hero he plays. Plays one of the better mid Beastmasters you're ever going to see. He's one of the few players that actually does play a mid Beastmaster at that. You just don't see that too much. But quite good at it. He's sucking up his experiences, getting a little bit of gold as well. The other one-on-one matchup, Bambo versus Hani. Hani sitting at 19. Bambo's hanging in, though. He's got 14 last hits of his own. He's out of mana at the moment, but he'll have enough for another set of cocks sometime soon. Hani, though, should be the big winner down here. And having a Storm Spirit off to a great start is well worth allowing a Clockwork to get solo lane farm and experience. That is an exchange you're usually going to be happy to make. But still all quiet. Now for Jo, he's going to have to get on the farm soon. I mean, he is finding a little bit. He's got 7. He's certainly not in great shape. But the damnable thing about a Phantom Lancer and why most players tend to not like the hero when he's not on their team is he is a hero who can make up a gap pretty effectively. His ability to use his illusions to farm the jungle, multiple camps at once, and so on and so forth, makes him a real pain in the butt to deal with, even if you do a decent job of denying him farm early. And so far they have accomplished that. But like I said, I mean, when I look at this tri-lane from Fnatic, I see a tri-lane that does want to get kills if they can. They can't, then they can't, and denying farm will have to do. But this, like right now, this is the worst thing for them. All standing together. Now they're going to engage on Jo. They have to go for it. There's a Light Strike Array to follow it up. Can they get it? No. Trixie actually gets first blood in mid while that's going down. They do manage to kill the Phantom Lancer. And here comes Demon. He's going to be there to re-engage. No Tail forced out, looking for axes on Fly, and Fly going one-on-one with Beat is dead. No! The creeps do avoid him. In the meantime, I hear a roar from a fresh 6 on Demon. They're going to be able to clean up Era in return. So Demon comes up and helps turn things around. He was first blooded by Trixie in mid, and they got the PL, but they end up losing the Lifestealer and their Lina in exchange for it. Beat came about as close to death as he possibly could. 1 creep auto attack. Honest to goodness, 1 ranged creep auto attack would have been enough to kill him, but he survived. At the end of the day, it's a 2-for-2 trade. I would honestly say that's a bit of a break even. Given the first blood went to Fnatic, losing the lifestealer, I think is pretty bad for them. But for now, not the end of the world. 6 minutes in, 4 kills all of a sudden are on the board. The lifestealer continues to dominate in terms of last hits. But, as always, what's going to be most important is what Fnatic does with it. Trixie getting that first blood is probably the most important thing that happened, which, I mean, isn't that particularly insightful. You want to get a first blood anytime you can. But just getting him further ahead, getting Demon further behind, putting him that much closer to a Blink Dagger or whatever he wants to pick up. He's got a bottle. He's got his tier 1 boots. We'll see if he wants to get a set of boots or if he's just going to rush the Blink immediately. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he did just rush a Blink. We're going to see Hani using the Storm Spirit once again. And go in the same build, 2 Null Talismans. Just making him a much better, much more well-rounded hero early on, which I think jives with the idea that Fnatic, they want to win this lane, they want to deny farm, but it's much, their bigger priority is going to be to accomplish something else right now. Hani is 7. They're going to try to gank him. And he's spotted out, caught with the roar, and cleaned up immediately. Very effective gank from EG. And taking a Storm down when he's past 6 is just about as good as taking him down before 6. A little bit more difficult. And usually you want to delay the 6 if you can, but all things considered, I'm sure they're happy to walk away with that. No Tail is beginning to get in the face of Jo a bit. And Jo still trailing quite a bit in CS, and to tell you the truth, his CS score is inflated with with neutral creeps. EG gonna go ahead and decide it's time to start pressing a tower. We're gonna see Trixie making his way down. Needs to be careful, as 2 heroes are visible. Here comes a TP reaction. They may decide to go on one here. And there's Storm ready to engage. You're gonna grab Bambo. Here comes the Bat Rider as well, and oh wow, good Nightmare gonna lock the Bat down. Doesn't mean it's gonna save anyone though. Demon gonna try to TP away, Flame Break gonna knock him out of it. This is a big turnaround for Fnatic. They managed to get 2 high priority targets. Tell you the truth, for EG right now, every target's high priority. Given the start that Phantom Lancer has had, every single target is high priority, but those 2 in particular, those are the tanky heroes. Those are the heroes that are gonna have to try to hold the line if and when Fnatic does decide to abandon this lane and start looking to make things happen elsewhere. So picking them off, keeping the tower standing. No Tail now going to eat some free solo experience and gold. And good exchange there for Fnatic. 7 kills on the board. We're 9 minutes in. There's a hook that's going to go ahead and catch one. That's going to be Fly caught with it. Spirit Lance able to clean it up along with Illuminate. Now Era eating some damage from the battery assault, but is able to make it back. Taking down the Lina. Nice step for EG as well. And both of these teams really getting things done. In the end, though, Fnatic is ahead on the back of the fact that Jo has been shut down entirely. And that first blood. So again, Fnatic is basically in the same boat that EG was in. They need to not just do well in the laning phase, and Era just being an obvious target. Oh wow, Era's just going to go for it. The Illuminate was off the mark. He's very lucky. Rocket is there, but he is able to retreat. But they're going to want to make a lot happen on this map between 15 and 25 minutes. Even if, you know, and that doesn't necessarily mean push towers. That was just what EG's lineup was good at in game 1. Oh, Era. Ooh. Pulled the trigger on Rage a little late and almost died because of it. But, you know, EG's lineup was just good at that. Fnatic has a lineup that's very good at isolating and killing off single targets. So if they wanted to dedicate mid-game to doing nothing but freeing the map up for the Lifestealer while they moved with the Bat, the Storm, the Visage, etc., and just tried to continue to shut down the Phantom Lancer, that could work too. Chances are they're going to want to get more out of the Lifestealer earlier rather than later, though. I can't imagine this being a passive farming Lifestealer for most of the game. Here comes Trixie. It's got a haste rune, and there's Bambo. Going to be lassoed back, drug all the way back to Hani's loving clutches. Down below half health, going to be cleaned up. Does get the cogs down, but doesn't do much but be annoying. Another kill on the board. Give that one to Fnatic. And now Lina is level 6 as Laguna Blade Demon. Walks up, says, I'm not worried about it. Tower shots don't hurt. It's K. Never let him see you cry, Demon. But as much action as there is, we're not seeing a lot of concentrated action. Not seeing a lot of what I would call deliberate Dota. We're seeing ganks. We're seeing targets of opportunity is probably the way to put it. We're seeing a lot of targets of opportunity. But we've yet to see any real movement from either side to try and break this laning phase down. This might be the chance, though, with the Demon and Fear now moving up under cover of smoke. Then get 1 or 2 kills here and push a tower. That'll begin to break things down a bit. And Era is up in no man's land. This could be bad. No tail. Spots it out. There's the Fiend's grip on Era. The Roar will be there if they want it. Man, there it is. Very high value kill. Getting him off the board. Now, I would imagine they'll try to push off of that. Bambo left by himself down in bottom. And Fly just continuing to soak experience. Get what gold he can here in mid. And wow, they're actually not going to push. So just happy at this point, I'm sure, to get Jo some farm. Jo sitting at 30 CS. He's at half of the Bad Rider. He's at 3/5 of what the Lifestealer has. And LS going to go ahead and rotate down the bottom. Trixie hooking up with No Tail and Fly here in mid now. Blink Dagger is freshly completed on Trixie. Most important item, obviously, for any Bad Rider. And he's going to be looking to find himself a target. Just hits Storm Spirit, grabbing himself a DD, and he may make his way to bottom. Now, see, this is what worries me if you're Fnatic. If you're not contesting JO's farm, you need to be doing something elsewhere. You need to be pushing a tower or ganking another hero. If you are not in this lane, be accomplishing another goal. And they are going to go ahead and smoke up and try to find a target. There's a sentry ward down that does spot the ward that was just placed. They are under smoke, so they won't be seen by it. And they're going to try to catch Jo. Jo is on his way to a set of drums. And you would think they're going to try to catch Jo. Smoke's got about a quarter time left on it. He actually doesn't have any help around at all. Everyone else is out on the other side of the jungle. Obviously, no way for them to know that. And yeah, they just hung back, actually. So Era getting his farm as well. But Jo making up some good ground. Now up to 42 CS. 13 minutes in, 10 kills on the board. They're all split right down the middle. And another smoke going to be coming out of EG. Looks like they may, decide to go and try to find a kill in bottom. In the meantime, Jo just continues to farm away. A situation they're going to be more than happy to allow to continue. Target would seem to be Era. He is by himself. He has a little bit of help a bit away. That's Hani, but not going to be able to get there in time to stop this. And Fiend's Grip. Wow. That was not Fiend's Grip Rage. Okay. That ability is officially broken. We're going to see the counter initiation. Demon going to be cleaned up, and now Bambo lassoed back. Holy crap. That happened in the D2L playoffs as well. I just want to, wow. That needs fixed. He was nowhere near that range. Nowhere near that range whenever he was Fiend's gripped. That's really unfortunate. As it stands, though, they do end up going 2 for 1, so it stays 7-7. Excuse me, 2 for 2. But that was nowhere even remotely close to the range of Fiend's grip. At least as it's displayed by the green circle. I'm still just dumbfounded by that. That was so far away. But these things happen. Nerf Ice Frog, please. Call it a frog. But in the meantime, Jo has finished his drums. So he's slowly making progress. Now, the thing about a Phantom Lancer, again, the damnable thing is not only does he catch up quickly and farm, as we can already see, but he doesn't need a whole lot of items to really feel effective. Drums, Diffusal, at that point you can start to fight. Like, you know, it's not optimal. You want to have a little bit more going for you. But if you have to come defend a tower at Drums, Diffusal, you absolutely can. There is absolutely no problem with that. And now Fnatic continues to just play passively. And this is, I'm going to guess they have a timing in mind. There's a time or a set of items that they feel are absolutely necessary for them to really do what they want to do. And they're just going to play passive until that point. Then when they have that items, I would say probably Armlet's among those for Era. But every minute that goes by, Jo just continues to farm and do so safely. Hani, for the second game in a row, has picked up Boots of Travel. Again, effectively making his reach global at this point. Demon will be getting himself a scepter. He's picked up the point booster. Now we're going to have a lasso grabbing Bambo. And again, that's a nice kill. But I want to see what they're going to do with it afterwards. And Bambo, after dying, says, okay, I'm dead. I'll spot runes. Pings the rune immediately after his death. But, yeah. I mean, they need to get something out of that. And if they don't, it's nothing more than a target of opportunity that, I mean, is really, as good as it is to get kills in any situation, this is a problem. Jo continues to free farm. And they're not even moving as a group right now. Like, this is just a little bizarre to me. This is about the time in Game 1 when we saw EG's lineup start to run as 5. And this is exactly what Fnatic needs to be doing. Lifestealer's not going to outcarry a Phantom Lancer. It's just not going to happen, especially when you factor in every counter that EG has. I mean, EG has so many ways to deal with that hero. Cogs, Fiend's Grip that apparently has 85,000 range. Roar from the Beastmaster and so forth. And the longer they allow Jo to make up the distance, and yeah, he's almost caught Lifestealer in farm now. I mean, and yeah, some of that is creep CS. But, you know, I mean, let's take a look at our net worth. Yeah, he's already ahead of the Lifestealer net worth. That's where he is right now. Take a look at the GPM. He's right behind him. And he's already got his first Blade of Alacrity on the way to Diffusal, as well as his Robe of the Magi. And this is just a little baffling to me. Fnatic has a team that, by all accounts, should be wanting to play aggressive. I don't know what they're waiting on other than the armlet. Hani's going to be getting himself up an Orchid. I mean, the kills are close, don't get me wrong. It's not as if, oh, God, you know, they're losing this game as we speak. In fact, we can see they're quite far ahead across the board. But they have a lead that isn't being pressed right now. And it's never a bad idea. By the way, does he not have eyes? It's glitch. Yeah, he doesn't have eyes. That is creepy as hell. You see that? That is creepy as hell. But they have a lead that isn't being pressed right now. And now this is what I want to see more of. More movement. And obviously No Tail not having his smoke pop by the illusion. Knows it's an illusion. Trixie's going to go ahead and use Firefly. They're going to look for a target. The rest of Fnatic is retreating in the meantime. Or excuse me, the rest of EG is retreating in the meantime. And Era just continues to farm. He'll have his armlet here in a couple hundred gold. Now they're going to grab Jo. And if they can get Jo here, they'll be all right. And they will. Very high priority kill. Excellent, excellent kill for them. Bear, we see TP's coming off everywhere. As No Tail's going to get himself out of trouble. And Stormsphere's going to engage, but he's engaging into most of EG. Bambo will be blown up. The Roar's going to be spin on Hani. Here comes the rest of them. But they should be able to get away if they want to. Trixie's still there. He has Firefly ready to go again. And now Fnatic pressing that fight. The armlet not quite done on Era yet. Actually, check that. It is on the way to him. Yeah. Okay. Now I feel a little better. Thank you, Fnatic. You're beginning to make me nervous. The Phantom Lancer was on his way to being fat. Now you've trimmed him down a little bit. Now let's see if they can do a slightly better job than EG did in Game 1. They're going to be under the gun to execute. EG is going to go ahead and probably take another Tier 1 tower here. They may go ahead and try to trade Tier 1 for Tier 2. And someone's going to react. That's going to be Trixie. And he Fireflies, but yeah, there's more than just Demon there, Trixie. So they get a free kill on the bat. They're going to get the tower. The rest of Fnatic's making their way down, though. And No Tail spotting Bambo, or vice versa. So Stormspear does manage to deny the tower. And in the meantime, they actually lose their bottom tower to creeps as well. So that catapult managing to get one. Now we're going to have Bambo engaged upon caught and brought back. Do they want to engage off of it? Force Staff gets him out of way of the familiars. And they will be able to make it back. 20 minutes in, 18 kills on the board, 10 belong to Fnatic. The gold lead basically leveled off at 5,000. The experience a little over 7,500. But again, you have the sleeping giant that is the Phantom Lancer. And Jo has gone back to work. He's going to have a Diffusal up really soon. 1,000 gold or so. And at that, it's just a countdown to when he can really start to feel relevant. Really love the drums approach. Tranquil's drums, Diffusal doesn't get a whole lot more solid than that. And again, he'll be able to fight once that diffusal is done. He won't want to for the most part, but he'll be able to show up and defend towers, which is already not that hard for EG to defend. And Era now has his armlet, continues to farm up. 4 staff done on B-Diz. Fear going to be on his way to a BKB. Something that I want to say I saw Fear do the other day, actually, is he'll just buy an Ogre Club for an eventual BKB and then get a Ghost Scepter and then finish his BKB. So he just gets the, hang on, there's going to be a lasso. Manages to catch B-Diz. Can they follow it up? They can. So good kill there. Now, while that Keeper's down is when they're going to want to push. Not having to cope with constant Illuminate spam. And Era just continues to farm, which is not a problem, really, but I'm just surprised, really. I don't feel like they're getting a whole lot out of these two heroes. Now they're going to look to make that change as they infest one into the other. And they're going to engage right on the JO. There goes the dust, but he got a creep. He actually got an illusion, I think. So a missed opportunity there. In the meantime, the rest of his teammates aren't going to take the tier 1 mid. That's a big missed opportunity for Fnatic. Big missed opportunity. And now Fly. Gonna get off his ulti before he dies. There's a hook that's gonna catch No Tail. Big answer from EG, and it looks like they're gonna be able to clean things up and get another kill. As No Tail will end up dropping. And this whole thing started with the missed opportunity at top out of Era and the Storm Spirit. Missing with the Vortex, getting an illusion instead of the real one, even though he did dust.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So EG making up some ground. They're gonna go ahead and try to take Roche off of this as well. The gold, again, remains in favor of Fnatic, at least for the moment. Same with the experience. But a late-game Phantom Lancer is not something you want to cope with. The one good thing that Trixie and company both have, Trixie and Fnatic, have going for them, is that even in the late game, when the Phantom Lancer becomes miserable to cope with him, we're going to see him just go for it here. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and flame break. They managed to get 1 kill. Here comes the Storm. He wants to engage as well. Fear going to be in trouble. Jo has to make a run for it. And Fear likely to end up dropping. Roshan still up and fighting. Jo cleaned up along the ridgeline. The cogs go down, and Fnatic might be able to steal this Roshan. Making full use of their entire skill sets. The mobility, the ability to attack from weird angles. And here comes the hook from Bambo. Roche still up and standing, though. There's an Illuminate that did good damage. Bambo now is actually just going to be blown up. Era goes back to work. B-Diz is there, and no, they didn't get it. It ends up going to Storm Spirit, and they get the kill. So EG grab-assing around the Roche pit. Not only did they lose Roche, but they lose their whole team. Everyone died in the process of that bizarre engagement. Everyone went one at a time. I mean, I'm okay. Like, if you've got a Clockwork and you're like, all right, let's try to steal the Aegis here. I'm okay with that. But they lost everyone. They lost the Clockwork. They lost the Phantom. The Phantom Lancer died in the initial fight. Demon died in the initial fight. So did Bane. Then they lost 2 more just trying to grab-ass their way around the Roche pit. Not the best engagement I've seen, EG. Exciting, though. And there's something to be said for a team that can get you excited, even if the execution wasn't there that time. 16-10, Fnatic gets Roche, gets the Aegis, gets the lead. Actually gets their lead up over 10,000. 15,000 experience still in their favor. Now, as far ahead as they are, they still need to execute. There's just so many ways for EG to confound them late. And Demon, as we can see, doing an excellent job farming the Ancients, as he always does. He's going to have his Ags up at about 200 gold. Missing only his Blade of Alacrity now. Looks like Bambo wants a pipe. Should be an excellent pickup against that team. Jo does have his Diffusal Blade, as well as a little bit of money in the bank, 500, not a ton. And now, Fnatic's going to be able to try and strangle them. It's exactly what they're going to want to do. So hard to push into these narrow pieces of territory, though. Just because. Oh, wow, they're going to find Demon. I was going to say because of how well EG can engage from funny angles. They're going to go right on him, and he's silenced before he can roar. Demon, knocked into the river by the flame break, will be cleaned up, and now the hook's going to re-engage right on the Hani. So they do manage to get the Aegis off of him. Bambo eating a lot of damage. In the meantime, Cogs himself in. We're going to see Hani fresh back up. Does end up eating the Cogs, but should be able to pursue him out. No! Great nightmare from Fear, saving his buddy. He's going to continue to pursue this out. Bambo bottling himself back up. He's going to be Vortex. In the meantime, the battle continues to rage. We're going to see Fear now caught behind his own tower. He may be cleaned up, and he will. Hani managed to get another kill behind the secret shop, too. 20-10. Fnatic now doubling Evil Geniuses up. And in game one, if you think back, I talked a lot about how EG was going to have to play a risk-reward kind of a game where they had to decide if they were going to slow push, if they were going to farm, if they were going to, more importantly, dive towers and try to not just take towers but take fights that would give them the ability to take even bigger objectives. And in that game, EG very effectively slowly pushed down every tower. This time, Fnatic, though, who's, again, in a very similar situation, on a bit of a timer because of the hard farming carry that is Phantom Lancer. They're not just taking towers, they're taking big fights. They are committing totally to it and going for it. And that has a lot to do with the strength of their draft, the reach, again, of the Storm, of the Bat, the way they synergize with heroes like Lifestealer. You know, and talking about reach, something I didn't even touch on is Visage. Visage's range on Soul Assumption is just stupid. I mean, like, that is so long for an ability that can do so much damage. So even though he's not the most mobile hero, he is able to make use of his own range to contribute a lot. And we're going to see Hani spot out the illusions, but doesn't look like he's too interested in fighting or trying to find out if one's real. But the goal graph continues to go up and up for Fnatic and EG. It's got to be, you know, as nice as it is to have a Phantom Lancer to rely on, there is a point where there's a point of no return. Like, yeah, you can fight your way back, as we saw Era's Anti-Mage did in game one. But that doesn't mean you can get behind 18 miles and expect to catch up with one nice sprint at the end of the game. And they're quickly approaching that. I mean, being down 5 digits is one thing, but they're into the mid 5 digits now. Experience is just utterly absurd. The level difference between these two teams is getting out of hand completely. Top 4 levels all belong. Basically, Lina is the same level as the Phantom Lancer. That tells you how completely absurd the level advantage is right now for Fnatic. The net worth, Phantom Lancer's hanging around. He is still being beaten by the top 3. Now we're going to have the engagement on the air. Let's see if they can get the job done. Jo's there, throws out the Spirit Lance. He's going to try to rage away. Hook's going to be way off the mark, but it doesn't matter. They do manage. No, he actually infested out. So he manages to get away. Storm moves in, and the dust is thrown off. Bambo will not be able to get away, as we just see the Storm hopping around all willy-nilly and getting himself a kill. Demon going to be lassoed down as we see Bane drop as well. Fear's gone. Demon's gone. The entire team. Those still standing, those two still standing of Jo and Beatiz have to run for the well. And Fnatic, again, committing to these fights in a way that Evil Geniuses really didn't in game one. And that's why they're having a lot more success in choking this map out. We see Jo is actually going to be going for a Yasha Manta before tanking up. And I don't know that that's the right call here. He's going to have to start to fight right now because his team is bleeding to death. Quite literally. Bleeding to death everywhere on the map. 15,000 gold, 20,000 experience. And as awesome as Phantom Lancer is, I'd say we're well past the point where the hero by himself is going to be able to farm you back into a game. EG now has to play a turtle game of Dota like they've never turtled before. And, you know, this comes all the way back to the laning phase, too. The fact that they were able... I actually thought EG did okay in the laning phase. It wasn't optimal. Jo was robbed of a lot of farm, and that's an effective goal for Fnatic. I feel like Fnatic didn't get enough kills, didn't really dominate that lane the way that they would have wanted to. But they've managed to do so well in the mid-game. 20 to 30 minutes. And committing to fights, using their reach, and just making EG play terrified that they've more than made up for any shortcoming, any perceived shortcoming in the laning phase in that top lane. Taking a look at the support inventories. Lina has herself a 4-staff. Nice to keep her alive. Drums are done on no-till, so he's tanked up quite a bit. Also a good item for the team. Era's actually picked up an ultimate orb. Now this is interesting to me. I'm trying to think what he would get. I mean, Hani's already got the Orchid. And, you know, obviously with an ultimate orb, he's not going to get an Orchid anyway. But that's like, whenever you see weird picks, I guess he's just going to get a Scythe, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it might have been a bit more effective for Hani to get the Scythe and Era to get an Orchid, but whatever. Bad Rider has his Force Staff, has his Blink Dagger, has an Ultimate Orb of his own. Maybe, who knows, man. They could just get a Scythe. He could get a Shiva's Guard if he wants to tank up a bit. Hani with his Lincoln Sphere complete now. So he's quite large and in charge. Take a look at Bane, still sitting on just that Ogre Club. Phantom Lancer has his Yasha complete. He's about 900 gold away from being able to pick up an Ultimate Orb. Demon with his Scepter, we're just not seeing it put to use all that much. Bambo still looking for his Hood of Defiance and then his Pipe. And Beat is probably in the best shape of anyone with a Force Staff and a Ghost Scepter, but that's just how a Keeper works. I mean, you know, when you play Keeper of the Light, you don't even try to farm and you get farm. You know, Illuminate just gets you so much gold. As we can see right there. So he's in pretty good shape gold-wise. At least in terms of support farm. So they do end up trading a tier 2. And EG not going to be able to trade the bottom tower at all. Only one outer tier tower remaining now for EG. Experience is 25,000. We're coming up on 20,000 gold advantage for Fnatic. EG is just hemorrhaging right now. They need to try to make something happen. It's not going to get better anytime soon. They've just hit that point of critical mass where Fnatic has no problem playing on their side of the map. And if they try to push, Fnatic will just push faster. Phantom Lancer is being denied farm fairly effectively, as we see Fnatic spending a lot of time in their jungle. In the enemy jungle, I should say. Just trying to keep him away from any feeling of safety. And now we're going to see Trixie, who completed a Lincoln Sphere. He's going to be locked down, eats a lot of damage, and Fiend Script's actually going to be spin on him. The rest of Fnatic's making their way down there now. He's down for 70 seconds. Don't think he'll buy back. He couldn't if he wanted to anyway. So they spent their whole repertoire there, and that's a nice step in the right direction. Gives them a little more time, gives JO some time to try and farm. Roche will be back up within the minute. That's likely to be... Yep, they're just getting Lincoln Spheres. Yeah, so Era got a Lincoln Sphere, Hani's got a Lincoln Sphere, Bad Rider has a Lincoln Sphere. Where's yours, Fly? Give it the times, bro Cephas. Spheres are all the rage this season. But anyway, Fnatic taking control of the Roche Pit. And the respawn, yep, happening right now. Happy New Year. And we'll see if they just want to go ahead and go for it. EG sucked all the way back up under their tier 3s now. Looks like Arrow's going to go ahead and clear out the farm here in bottom. And one would think Roche would certainly be the next goal. Hawk is going to be making his way into a nice spotting position. Dust of appearance. Hanging out near the secret shop. Why not? And we're going to see them most likely make their way in. EG, I mean, if they do, they have to contest it. I just don't know how they can, really. Jo still lacking his Manta style. Yasha helps, but certainly not where he wants to be. Net worth, he is tops on his team. Problem is, Storm Spirit has 5,000 more gold. Basically, Storm has 50% more gold in terms of net worth than you do. I heard the infest. Yep, there it is. On Hani. And Fnatic just continuing to play very, very cautiously. And they're going to be spotted as they go in. They do pick off the Hawk. So EG knows what's up. And let's see how they want to play it out. And it looks like, yeah, Bat just spotted the dust. And taking control of the north side of the pit. Roche down to about half health now. The damage not this high as it could be, just not a lot of damage items built. A lot of survivability items. And they're actually going to be forced out of the pit for a moment. Now we're going to see Storm go for it. Manages to catch B-Diz out, and B-Diz is going to be cleaned up, most certainly. Well, Hani just kind of stood there for a second. There we go. Did manage to clean him up in the end.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Over here now.
EG finally manages to take that top tier 1. Last remaining tier 1 does fall. But Roche going to be the prize of Fnatic. And they should be looking to take this bottom tier 2 and close this game out. Demon Might have been spotted by Trixie, but yep. Took a shot at it. If he had blinked earlier, would have had him.
Top tower is under attack.
But right now, they're just so tanky. There's just so little that can do damage to them. I mean, you just saw Trixie eating tower shots like it didn't matter. And it's do or die time for EG. Keeper of the Light should be up and available by the time this push reaches their base.
Top tower is under attack.
PL did complete his Manta style. Hood of Defiance finally done on Bambo as well. And never mind. Fnatic just gonna pull back. Playing some cautious Dota. Taking their time.
Over here.
Looking to strangle this game out bit by bit. And really, I mean, at this point, all EG can do is turtle. If the PL gets out and gets caught, it's game over if he doesn't have buyback, so he has to worry about that. I'm actually surprised Fnatic didn't just try to go ahead and push there. I feel like it might have been in their best interest to just rush it, try to get someone with a lasso, and make it a 4-on-5 immediately. Not their choice, though. And EG, huddling under the safety of the Tier 3, they may smoke up here and try something. And they've got a smoke. Nope, not gonna bother. The Aegis still has quite a bit of time, of course. Still gonna be about 4 or 5 minutes left on that when they want to put it to use, and we're actually gonna see Fnatic smoke up now and go looking for a target. Gold in excess of 20,000 to their advantage, 30,000 experience. You might say they're a little ahead in levels. 5 of the top 6 in levels belonging to them. Lina still is a higher level than the Phantom Lancer. That's kind of silly, actually. That is just silly. And they're going to try to catch EG coming out on Era here. Try to catch any wayward target. Trixie going to go ahead and use Firefly. And might try to catch him at Bambo. And there we go. They blink in, manage to grab him. And see you in the well, Bambo. Fiend's Grip goes off. Doesn't matter. Should be able to clean him up, and they will. That's 2 down immediately. And finally, this game looks to be reaching its conclusion as Jo now the target. Lincoln Sphere. OP, bro. And 1 good Dragon Slave, enough to send Jo back into the well as well. Era continuing to clean house. Jo bought back, but immediately comes out and has to run back to regen. So Fnatic, who built themselves a tremendous lead throughout the majority of this game, now finally showing just how ugly that lead feels. And we're going to see Hani trying to re-engage again. Trixie's right there with him. Glyph's going to be popped. Don't know that it matters. And what should be their last stand as we see Beat is going to be caught. Hani actually almost died. Does end up losing his Aegis, but the Soul Assumption cleans up the Keeper. Bambo now in trouble. Flame Break knocks him right into the clutches of Era. And another kill. Lina does end up dropping, but Hani just continuing to jump around and be as irritating a storm as he can. Jo, latest to be dead. Beat is going to join the club as well. And there's the roar spent by Demon. Open wounds, locks him down. And that's everyone cleaned up. A triple kill going the way of Hani. Never mind. Demon had to ruin it. Buys back. 28 seconds on his roar. But, yeah. Don't think there's a whole lot more to say. Fnatic should be getting mega creeps momentarily. And really well played out of them. EG, who again got past Fnatic 2-1 the last time they met in the We Play Dota group stage. This time, Fnatic making it look easy. They hung in and battled and delayed EG's potential in Game 1 and Game 2. They did the same thing, except it wasn't so much a battle as a curb stomping. And we're going to see them go ahead and back out. I'm actually surprised EG hasn't just called GG right now.
Over here now.
They are so unbelievably far behind. I mean, just truly, truly far behind. Take a look at the hero levels, yeah. Lina, up until just this second, Lina was a higher level than the Phantom Lancer. The number 4 support was a higher level than the Phantom Lancer. And let's see.
Where's the party?
Fnatic can go ahead and finish things out.
Over here now.
Jo not going to give up. Did upgrade his defusal. So he's got that going for him. Atos picked up on Fly, because hey, why not? It's not as if you have heroes that can jump and grab everyone on the map all at once. Eros picked up an Abyssal. He's hitting fairly hard. Not a guy you want jabbing you in the mouth. And hopefully Fnatic will be bringing us a conclusion sometime soon. I'm actually stunned EG hasn't just typed GG yet. I really am. But hey, play to win, right? Bane's working on his BKB, so maybe that will be what we need to turn things around. They are going to go ahead and go desperation push, it would seem. And now they do have to TP back as their tier 4s are mauled to death by a pack of mangry? Mangry was the word I was about to say. A pack of angry mobs. While Fnatic looks to go ahead and possibly put together the final push of the game, pushing in this top lane. Want to remind everyone while we have a moment that if you haven't already, you definitely need to bookmark G1.2p.com, your coverage hub for the G1 Champions League. East Qualifier, West Qualifier, VODs, broadcasting hub, interviews, articles, write-ups, you name it, they've got it over at G1.2p.com. Great way to start your day. If you're looking to get things going with some Dota early in the morning, well, morning, evening, afternoon, no matter where you happen to be, just tune in to or jump to G1.2p.com. You can find out what's going on any given day. Very cool interview with Loda just went up, if I'm not mistaken. So that should make for a good read. I haven't had a chance to read it yet myself, but Loda does tend to interview very well, so definitely think you should check that out. Also, make sure you check out 17173.com, our other main sponsor for the G1 Champions League. There's the lasso, gonna grab Demon. He's gonna be hexed out as well, and caught with Laguna Blade. He's blown up. Now Bambo gonna be next on the target list. Fear should be melting and will be melting. That's 3 down, and Jo doing what he can, which is very little. Gonna try it. Lincoln Sphere too strong. And Fnatic should be ending this. There's the Infest with the Dragon Slave to clear the creeps, and Trixie continuing to play very brave. Lincoln Sphere's popping everywhere as Jo evaporates. Beat is gonna make it 5. Buyback from Jo. He comes out, tries to re-engage. He'll be hexed out. GG's come out. What can only be labeled a truly dominating performance by Fnatic. I mean, really. 30,000 gold their advantage by the end of the game. 40,000 experience by the end of the game. As one-sided as it was, hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast, and hope that if this is your first time here on One More Game TV2, we'll have you back in the future. Please hit follow. You can also follow me on Twitter at AC, at AYESEE, and on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/ACTV. Just going to have to wait for the old ancient to reach its end. We do have a second best of 3 on the day, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be Na'Vi taking on Alliance. 2 absolute European powerhouses. 2 of the most successful teams on LAN in the last year. And arguably, in the case of Na'Vi, the single most successful team on LAN in the history of Dota 2. 44 minutes, 52 seconds, the official game time. 41-15, the final kill score. Fnatic rolls over EG 2-0 and knocks them into the lower bracket. Fnatic looking strong as they tear through this winner's bracket. They're going to meet the winner of our next match. Again, Na'Vi taking on Alliance.